Network Rail is the owner and infrastructure manager of most of the rail network in England, Scotland and Wales. Network Rail is an arm's-length public body of the Department for Transport, with no shareholders, which reinvests its income in the railways. Network Rail's main customers are the private train operating companies, responsible for passenger transport, and freight operating companies, who provide train services on the infrastructure that the company owns and maintains. Since the 1st of September 2014, Network Rail has been classified as a public sector body. To cope with quickly rising passenger numbers, Network Rail is currently undertaking a £38 billion programme of upgrades to the network, including Crossrail, electrification of lines, upgrading Thameslink and a new high-speed line. History: Pre-2002, Britain's railway system was built by private companies, but it was nationalised by the Transport Act 1947 and run by British Railways until reprivatisation in the 1990s. Infrastructure and passenger and freight services were separated at the time. Between 1994 and 2002, the infrastructure was owned and operated by Railtrack. The Hatfield train crash on the 17th of October 2000 was a defining moment in the collapse of Railtrack. The immediate major repairs undertaken across the whole British rail network were estimated to have cost in the order of £580 million, and Railtrack had no idea how many more Hatfields were waiting to happen because it had lost considerable in-house engineering skill following the sale or closure of many of the engineering and maintenance functions of British Rail to external companies, nor did the company have any way of assessing the consequence of the speed restrictions it was ordering, which all but brought the railway network to a standstill. The costs of modernizing the West Coast Main Line were also spiraling. In 2001, Railtrack announced that, despite making a pre-tax profits before exceptional expenses of £199 million, the £733 million of costs and compensation paid out over the Hatfield crash had plunged Railtrack from profit into a loss of £534 million, and it approached the government for funding, which it then used to pay a £137 million dividend to its shareholders in May 2001. Network Rail Limited took over control by buying Railtrack plc, which was in railway administration, from Railtrack Group plc for £500 million. Railtrack plc was then renamed and reconstituted as Network Rail Infrastructure Limited. The purchase was completed on the 3rd of October 2002. The former company had thus never ceased to exist but continued under another name. For this reason, Network Rail Infrastructure Limited was the defendant in later prosecutions in respect of events which had occurred in the days of Railtrack 2002 onwards, following an initial period in which Network Rail established itself and demonstrated its competence in addressing the principal challenges of improving asset condition, reducing unit costs and tackling delay. The government's rail review in 2004 said that Network Rail should be given responsibility for whole industry performance reporting, timetable development, specification of small and medium network enhancements, and the delivery of route-specific utilization strategies. Some of these are functions which Network Rail already had. Others, such as the obligation to devise route utilization strategies, were transferred to Network Rail from the Strategic Rail Authority, a non-departmental public body, part of the UK government. The SRA was abolished in November 2006. The company moved its headquarters to King's Place, 90 York Way, from 40 Melton Street, Euston, in August 2008. In October 2008, Sir Ian McAllister announced that he would not stand for re-election as chairman of Network Rail. He had held the position for 6 years. He noted that as Network Rail moved to a new phase in its development, it was appropriate for a new chairman to lead it there. Many track safety initiatives have been introduced in the time Network Rail has been responsible for this area. The latest, announced in December 2008, known as All Orange, states that all track personnel must not only wear orange high-vis waistcoats or jackets, but must also wear orange high-vis trousers at all times when working on and near the track. This ruling came into force in January 2009 for maintenance and property workers, and in April 2009 for infrastructure and investment sites. In 2011, the company began the process of reorganizing its operational structure into 9 semi-autonomous regional entities, each with their own managing director. The first 2 units to be created were Scotland and Wessex regions. The reorganization has been interpreted as a move back towards vertical integration of track and train operations. Responsibilities. Network Rail owns the infrastructure, including the railway tracks, signals, overhead wires, tunnels, bridges, level crossings and most stations, but not the passenger or commercial freight rolling stock. It, however, owns a fleet of departmental stock. Although it owns over 2,500 railway stations, it manages only 18 of the biggest and busiest of them, all the other stations being managed by one or other of the various train operating companies. Network Rail had a 15-year lease on Square One in Manchester with 800 staff in one of Manchester's largest refurbished office spaces. Network Rail should not be confused with National Rail. National Rail is not an organization, but merely a brand, used to explain and promote a Great Britain-wide network of passenger railway services. The majority of Network Rail lines also carry freight traffic. Some lines are freight only. A few lines that carry passenger traffic are not part of the National Rail network and the London Underground. Conversely, a few National Rail services operate over track that is not part of the Network Rail network. For example, Chiltern Railway's services run on track owned by London Underground between Harrow-on-the-Hill and Amersham. The current chairman is Sir Peter Hendy, and Mark Carney is currently appointed as the chief executive. Assets. Infrastructure. Network Rail covers 20,000 miles of track and 40,000 bridges and tunnels. In October 2003, Network Rail announced that it would take over all infrastructure maintenance work from private contractors, following concerns about the quality of work carried out by certain private firms, and spiraling costs. February 2004 saw the opening of an operations centre at Waterloo Station in London, operated jointly by Network Rail and South West Trains. This was the first full collaboration of its kind since privatisation, and it is regarded as a model for other areas of the network, with a further 6 integrated Network Rail Plus stock control centres having opened since then, at Blackfriars, Croydon, Swindon, Birmingham New Street, Glasgow and, most recently, Liverpool Street, and South Wales based in Cardiff Canton. Track renewal. The ongoing modernisation of the railway network by replacing track and signalling continues to be carried out by private engineering firms under contract. The biggest renewals project include the multi-billion-pound upgrade of the London-Glasgow West Coast Main Line, which was completed in 2008, the Thameslink programme to upgrade the North-South Railway through London, and work on the part of Crossrail which is operated by Network Rail. Network Rail initially subcontracted much of the work on the site to private infrastructure maintenance companies such as Carillion and First Engineering. Other subcontractors are used on-site for specialist work or additional labor. These include Prima Services Group, Sky Blue, Balfour Beatty, Laborsite, BCL, Atkinson McGinleys. Since 2003, Network Rail has been building up significant in-house engineering skills, including funding of apprenticeship and foundation degree schemes. Network Rail reports significant savings resulting from the initial transfers of work away from contracting companies. Additional contracts were taken back by Network Rail after the serious accident at Potters Bar and other accidents at Rotherham and King's Cross led Jarvis to pull out of the track repair business. Shortly after this, and due to other failures by maintenance companies, Network Rail took control of many more maintenance duties. Telecoms maintenance came full circle in April 2009 with the bringing in-house of the staff of Thales Telecom Services Limited. In 2006, Network Rail made public a high-tech plan to combat the effects of slippery rail. This plan involves the use of satellites for tracking trouble areas, water jetting trains and cars using railhead scrubbers, sand sticks and a substance called natrazole, which dissolves leaf mulch. All workers working on near a trackside have to undergo a personal track safety assessment. Network Rail workers undergo an assessment every year as part of AITL. The AITL requires each worker to go through questions on a computer-based program on all the competencies held. In 2007, it was announced that the number of track renewal contractors will be reduced to 4 from the current 6. These are now Amy, Seco, Balfour Beatty, Babcock First Engineering and Jarvis plc. Jarvis plc has since gone into administration, with the bulk of its work commitments being picked up by Babcock Stations. Network Rail owns more than 2,500 railway stations, divided into 6 categories. Management and operation of most of them is carried out mostly by the principal train operating company serving that station. However, in a few cases the train operating company does not serve the station. For example, Hinckley is served by Cross Country, but it is managed by East Midlands Trains. As of August 2016, Network Rail manages 19 stations directly. The stations Network Rail operate are: Network Rail High Speed also operates London St Pancras International High Level, Stratford International and Ebbsfleet International. Glasgow Central and Liverpool Lime Street stations are divided into high and low-level stations. The high-level stations are all termini used primarily by the main intercity services to those stations. The low-level stations are through routes on local commuter networks that are largely separate from other routes to the main station. These stations' platforms are not managed by Network Rail, but instead the rail operator that primarily uses them. Network Rail operated Gatwick Airport Station until January 2012, when it was transferred to Southern and Fenchurch Street, until November 2014 when it was transferred to C2C. Network Rail took over management of Bristol, Temple Meads and Reading in April 2014. Network Rail will manage Newcastle and York from June 2015 as part of the return of the East Coast Main Line to the private sector. A DfT franchise report in 2014 stated Network Rail's intention to subsume more major stations into Network Rail's directly operated portfolio. The report earmarked York for Network Rail management, as well as Manchester, Oxford Road and Manchester Victoria, which are currently undergoing major rebuilding as part of the Northern Hub. The two Manchester stations are expected to be managed directly by Network Rail once the Northern Rail franchise ends in 2016 or once rebuilding work is completed at Victoria and Oxford Road, expected in 2015 and 2018 respectively. Training facilities. Network Rail has several training and development sites around Britain. These include sites in Newcastle, Peterborough, Derby, Leeds, Walsall and Larbert, which provide refresher courses and train staff in new equipment. Advanced Apprentice Scheme trainees are trained at HMS Sultan and Gosport within the whole the first year and over 7 2-week periods of 5 3-week periods of their apprenticeship, using a combination of Royal Navy facilities and a specially installed training centre. All courses are taught by VT Flagship in the first year, but apprentices are trained by Network Rail staff in the second and third years. Network Rail bought a residential centre from Cable and Wireless in the Westwood Business Centre near Coventry for leadership development. The company and other industry partners such as Volcarail and Balfour Beatty also operate a foundation degree in conjunction with Sheffield Hallam University. In 2008, Network Rail piloted its first qualification in track engineering. It has been given permission to develop courses equivalent to GCSE in A-levels. Telecoms assets. Network Rail operates various essential telecommunication circuits for signaling and electrification control systems, train radio systems, line-side communications, level crossing CCTV, station information and security systems, as well as more general IT and business telephony needs. The fixed-bearer network infrastructure comprises transmission systems and telephone exchanges linked by a fiber optic and copper cable network that is located mainly within trackside troughing routes on the former British Rail telecommunications network. Network Rail operates several analog radio networks that support mobile communication applications for drivers and line-side workers, which consist of base stations, antenna systems and control equipment. The National Radio Network was developed specifically for the operational railway. It provides radio coverage for 98% of the rail network through 500 base stations and 21 radio exchanges. The Radio Electronic Token Block (RETB) system is based on similar technology as the NRN and ORN, but provides data communication for signaling token exchange as well as voice communication. Fixed communication at trackside is provided by telephone. These are primarily provided for signallers to communicate with train crew via telephones mounted on signal posts, and with the public through telephones located at level crossings. Skytronics provides many of the telephones sited on trackside and at level crossings. They also provide public access help points on platforms and stations to provide passengers with easy access to information and emergency control centers. GSM-R radio systems are being introduced across Europe under EU legislation for interoperability. In the UK, as of March 2014, Network Rail is well underway in the UK implementation of GSM-R to replace its legacy National Radio Network and CAB Secure radio systems, currently in use. Network Rail has an internal infrastructure database known as GEOGIS. The system uses codes for 4-digit track IDs to identify which line at any location is referred to. The first number refers to track direction, with values of 1, 2, 3, or 4. The second number refers to track use, which can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. The third and fourth numbers refer to the track number, which can be any number from 00 to 99 inclusive, and are usually numbered sequentially. Rolling Stock Network Rail operates a large variety of DMUs, locomotives and rolling stock to perform safety checks and maintenance, as well as the multiple units and locomotives detailed below. Network Rail own and operate a large stock of rolling stock for particular testing duties and track maintenance. Network Rail also hire freight locomotives from DB Schenker and Freightliner among others to operate engineers' trains at weekends. DRS provide a number of locomotives to power test trains around the network when Network Rail locomotives are unavailable or busy elsewhere. Drivers of Network Rail rolling stock are hired from DB Schenker. Possible asset sales. In May 2015, it was reported in the national press that the government was considering selling off some of Network Rail's assets, including large stations and Wi-Fi services. The government denied the reports. Development. Current investment program from 1997 to 2014. Passenger numbers have more than doubled, following little growth in the previous decades. To cope with the increasing passenger numbers, Network Rail is currently undertaking a £38 billion program of upgrades to the network, including Crossrail, electrification of lines, in-cab signalling, new intercity trains, upgrading Thames Link, and a new high-speed line. The grid process for investment projects, as opposed to routine maintenance. Network Rail has developed an 8-stage process designed to minimize and mitigate risks. This is known as the Governance for Railway Investment Projects, previously known as Guide to Rail Investment Projects. The stages are as follows: output definition, pre-feasibility, option selection, single option development, detailed design, construction, test and commission, scheme handback, project closeout. Each stage delivers an agreed set of outputs to defined quality criteria. Control periods for financial and other planning purposes. Network Rail works within 5-year control periods, each one beginning on the 1st of April and ending on the 31st of March to coincide with the financial reporting year. These periods were inherited from Railtrack, so that the earlier ones are retrospective, and not necessarily of 5 years duration. They are as follows: Control Period 1, 1996 to 2001. Control Period 2, 2001 to 2004. Control Period 3, 2004 to 2009. Control Period 4, 2009 to 2014. Control Period 5, 2014 to 2019. Control Period 6, 2019 to 2024. Control Period 7, 2024 to 2029. Control Period 8, 2029 to 2034. The Secretary of State for Transport regularly issues a high-level output specification indicating what work the government wishes to be undertaken during a given control period. Route plans. Network Rail regularly publishes a strategic business plan detailing the policies, processes and plans, as well as financial expenditure and other data. The most recent complete business plan was published in January 2013. Within these plans, the rail network is divided into 10 devolved routes, or operational routes, with a route plan for each being published annually. Each route or other plan covers a number of railway lines usually defined by geographical area, and the routes are further subdivided into 17 strategic routes, each divided into strategic route sections and given an SRS number and name. The plans also detail the geography of routes, stations, major junctions, capacity constraints and other issues, and provide data on freight gauge, electrification, linear speed, number of tracks, capacity and other information. The plans also detailed the expected future demand and development of each route, the predicted expenditure and the maintenance and investment requirements. The devolved routes were introduced in 2011, and the 17 strategic routes labeled A to Q were introduced in 2010. From 2004 to 2009, the network had been divided into 26 strategic routes numbered 1 to 26. In 2003, the network had been divided into 41 strategic routes numbered 1 to 41. The 2011 devolved routes and strategic routes are organized as in the table below. Electricity. Network Rail opened the world's largest solar-powered bridge at Blackfriars Bridge across the River Thames in January 2014. The roof of the bridge has been covered with 4,400 photovoltaic panels, providing up to half of the energy for London Blackfriars Station. Governance structure and accountability. Formal governance structure. The company is accountable to a body of members through its corporate constitution, to its commercial train operator customers through its contracts with them, and to the public interest through the statutory powers of the Office of Rail and Road. Since Network Rail does not have shareholders, its members hold the board of directors to account for their management of the business. For the 1st of July 2015, all the members were removed, leaving the special member, the Secretary of State for Transport, as the sole member of Network Rail. Previously, at any one time there are around 100 members in total, drawn from a wide range of industry partners and members of the public. There were two general categories of membership: industry members comprising any organization holding a license to operate on the railway, a preferred bidder for a railway franchise, and public members who were drawn from the wider stakeholder community. Members were appointed by an independent panel and served a 3-year term. They had a number of statutory rights and duties which included attending annual general meetings, receiving the annual report and accounts, and approving the appointment or reappointment of Network Rail's directors. Members had a duty to act in the best interests of the company without personal bias. They received no payments other than travel expenses. Setting the strategic direction and the day-to-day management of Network Rail is the responsibility of the company's board of directors. That direction must be consistent with the regulatory jurisdiction of the OR and with the requirements of its contracts. The OR in turn operates within the overall transport policy set by the UK Department for Transport and the Scottish Government, including as to what the government wants the railway industry to achieve and how much money the government is prepared to put into the industry. This means that the degree of government influence and control over the company is higher than it was before these enlargements of the powers and role of the government were introduced by the Railways Act 2005. Monitoring Network Rail's performance. The Office of Rail and Road monitors Network Rail's performance on a continuous basis against targets established by the regulatory authority in the most recent access charges review, against obligations in the company's network license and against forecasts in its own business plan. If performance is poor, the company will face criticism and possible enforcement action from its commercial customers and from the OR. It may also be criticized by its members in general meeting. In the annual report 2014-15, the OR reported that the public performance measure was 89.6%, 1.4 percentage points below target in England and Wales, and ppm in Scotland was 90.5%, 1.5 pp below its regulatory performance target. target of 92%. Informal governance groups. Railway Industry Planning Group. The Railway Industry Planning Group, chaired by Network Rail, has as its purpose railway industry input into the structure and development of the national railway strategic planning processes. Its members are drawn from railway funders, operators and users, and the group meets quarterly to consider rail industry liaison with regional and local government, regional planning assessments, route utilization strategies, specification of passenger operator franchises, high-level output specifications and Network Rail's strategic business plan. Network Rail's business planning criteria, business plan and route plans. Directors.